Good evening and welcome to Talk with the Titans, live from London, UK, all the way to the US of A and worldwide. I'm your host, Kalam L, and this is Talk with the Titans. Tonight, we've got an explosive show for you. We've got my beloved brother, Red Pill, and Tahir RBG in the building. Peace, peace, peace to you both, Kings.
All right, Black Power. Peace.
All right. This is excellent right now. Because you know what? Red, hold on. I hope the last time we spoke, was it on the show or was it when I was in America?
I believe the last time was in America. You know, we did the show together, but I recall the last time seeing you, we were at an event. I believe it was either the debate.
That's right. The big debate right there. Oh man, it's too long. Long.
How's everything been going on across the pond?
Everything is okay over here, man. It's starting to get more vibrant now. It's starting to get a lot more vibrant over here. The community is growing, it's expanding. There's a lot of people that's tuned in, from around the globe, seeing what's going on over in America, seeing what's going on over here as well. So, I got high hopes for the community, and everybody's kind of coming together. So I love that.
That's beautiful.
Actually, we saw after that. We was with each other afterwards. We was with Brother Polite
at the crib.
Tazaria. Right? Who else was there? We had my good brother
Reggie.
Who else? The rapper, man. What's my brother's name again?
Loaded Lux.
That's it. Yeah, man. We had quite a few people in the mix as well.
Shout out to all of the brothers.
Real quickly, everybody who's tuned in right now, listen, we're gonna get in a minute. We're gonna get it in. I just want everybody to come in, flow in. I know it's late. For my UK audience or the European audience, I know it's late right about now. And I know we're starting late. So please, for those of you who are signed in right now and tuned in right now, it's most probably my US audience. Please hit the share button. Let everybody know that we're live right now. Hit the share button. Let everybody know that we're live. I need to start promoting this on the Facebooks and everywhere else so people could know that we're here. And of course, we've got my brother Tahir RBG. King, let me know what's going on with you, man.
Yo, Black Power to all the UK audience watching, all my UK RBGs. Salute to y'all. Salute to everybody that's all in the world watching. Great things are happening, man. New album out, Hymns of the Whirlwind. You can catch that at TahirRBG.com. A lot of work going on in the community. It's apps behind the raps. It ain't just a whole bunch of talking, but we walking as well. A lot of great things, man. We move it around. RBG Explosion. That's the tour we on right now. And we can't wait to bring it out there. I can't wait till I'm out there in the UK. I'm linked in with a lot of folks. I'm glad to be on your platform. It's beautiful. And I tune in to your shows a lot. And we can't wait to bring this out there, and we link and have a meet and greet and exchange with our family across the pond, because this is a global situation here. So it's not just in America and it's not just in the UK, but it's global. So we all got to link up. You dig?
That's real. All right. I'm just literally posting up the link everywhere. So I'm going to ask everybody again who's tuned in right now with us to please hit the share button. If you love Talk with the Titans and everything that we do, please support us. Support us by sharing the link. Support us by liking, the YouTube videos. And let's get the message out there to everybody else to wake people up and to actually share the knowledge and awareness with everybody else as well. Real quickly, I just want to go to the YouTube, and just give my big shout outs to everybody who's tuned in right now. James Morgan, peace. Ali Dawud L, peace to the family. Front Street Live, peace. Nubian Hugh, peace. Peace to the Twins Pillars. That's Heavy C saying that. Atum Amun, peace, and Black African Power. So we got people tuned in right now, and I'm loving that. So everybody else, if you're new to Talk with the Titans and never really tuned in before, Talk with the Titans was birthed out of the idea that the intellectual giants, such as the Red Pill, such as the Blue Pills, the Enkies, the Tahir, the Born Knowledge Allahs, the Polites, the the Tazariaks and so forth have a platform, an organized platform to present, debate, and discuss critical information affecting our community, proposed by you, our audience members, the community. So right about now, I actually want to just jump into right now, I wanted to jump into this whole digital evolution that's going on. This digital age, this age of information is literally a digital age of information. We're getting all our information via, our YouTube videos, via our Facebooks, Google, etc., etc. How does this digital evolution actually, affect us as human beings and our next stage of evolving?
Oh, you can take that one, Red.
All right. What a beautiful question. Thank you for asking that. Right now, right now is an interesting time in history because we're on the cusp of what is known as the artificial intelligence revolution, or what they're deeming the AI revolution. And if you do the research, there's articles with Elon Musk and Bill Gates and other people that are quote unquote giants in the tech sector saying that AI will be replacing human jobs by projected 50% in the near future. Now, at the same time, one of the interesting articles that you could go and research is an article that deals with the Google Deep Mind and how the Deep Mind is basically utilizing a new form of learning. The artificial intelligence is learning at a pace. It's called it's a new form of learning where the computer is teaching itself. They're not utilizing code. They're not utilizing programmers to teach it. It's learning on its own through experience, similar to the way a human learns. I believe it's called deep learning, or don't quote me on that, but it's a form of learning where it has excelled to a point where it beat one of the champions in a tournament called Go. And this tournament Go, this game called Go, is considered amongst the Asians, the Chinese to be exact, to be higher than chess when it comes to strategy and whatnot. Go is an ancient Chinese game, and the AI defeated one of the grandmasters of Go. The AI also defeated one of the grandmasters of chess, one of the chess grandmasters. And it's basically akin to what is known as Skynet that the sister wrote when she wrote Terminator and also Matrix.
And Matrix,
Sophia yeah, people only attribute Matrix to her. She wrote Terminator that you got in the 80s as well. That's the same script. They broke it up and made the Matrix, and they also made Terminator. She's a futurist. She's an Afrofuturist. So she was projecting, technology and what its capabilities would be, and the fact that it would gain consciousness. So that's what we're seeing. The computer's gaining consciousness. Of course, there's pros and cons to it. Of course, those of us who identify as ancient Africans and we identify with ancient African traditional systems and also high civilizations, we should be running towards this technological boom, as a continuum to what it is before. Because when you strip down technology to its core, it's dealing with applying information to solve problems, coming up with mathematical equations in your mathematical minds or your scientific minds. There's a boom taking place in Africa right now of young technopreneurs that are booming all around the continent. Yeah, we understand about the coltan. I know people are like, but they're taking coltan out of yes, there's slavery taking place right now.
Yeah, the cobalt and all.
Cobalt, yeah, and coltan and other things that's being sanctioned before they were digging for coltan. Technology, what you're seeing is humans taking nature and creating solutions with the resources that nature, has, like the same way that a bird could create a nest or the same way that a beaver is building a dam. Well, human beings are progressing, you know, like they did in the industrial era. And I'm not speaking about technology and industrial era and things like that as I'm pro, you know, I'm not approaching it with the mind state of this is what saved the planet and made things better. I'm just, you know, talking about what happened. This is history. You know, there was something called the industrial age, and the machine took over for the man. So AI has already replaced the jobs for human at that level, but now we're on a 4.0. So the binary code, which is the language of computers out of Africa, it's time to embrace, because we're on these computers right now talking, right? We're on our smartphones and everything. We're embracing technology when it's convenient. But on another hand, we're trying to scare people from experiencing being the producers, not the consumers.
Right, the producers.
Being the producers of technology. So if you want to talk about AI and all of the pros and cons and what it can do, well, God damn it, I want to program a drone to go fly and do my dirty work for me, because I got enemies, you know what I'm saying? And we have adversaries that are against our people. So you're either going to learn how to play the game, or you're going to completely be an indentured servant in this new technological era where they're going to use AI and other things to assert a level of power unseen before. So you better find out what's going on. And for all of the brothers and sisters who are a part of the brain drain, meaning that you're willingly hidden figures, meaning that you willingly went to Google, DARPA, and all of these other places with the, I can't do anything for my people because I work for Google. You need to reevaluate your position in life and who the fuck are you working for, what team you play on, because if you're helping Europeans, like the black women they showed in Hidden Figures, they help advance white supremacy to a whole nother level when they help when Cookie helped you give these crackers the equations on how to leave the fucking stratosphere.
Right.
That was a secret. It was left to mouth to ear. We wouldn't let them know, the same way that y'all hating on the Moors for helping the Europeans sail across the fucking sea. Well, I'm hating on them black women in Nassau for helping these crackers leave the fucking atmosphere.
That's right. That's right.
They're part of the brain drain. They become enemies to our progression and what the fuck we are here to do. What are you doing helping them out? And you can't help, you don't want to help your own people. You want to come up with reasons and excuses why we should not be helped. You know what I mean? But look at what they did to Henrietta Lacks. You know what I mean? Her family didn't even know that her genes were immortal. Her cells were, they were pimping her. Her death, they were still pimping her. All right, that's what they do to our people. The sister could not even drink coffee with Nassau. She couldn't drink coffee. She was in a room full of white supremacists, white inferiority racists. They wouldn't even let her use their own bathroom. But we supposed to celebrate some fucking coon shit like that. No, I'm not with that. I don't applaud that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I like to.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I like, no, it's all good. Pardon me. I like to add on to that. With the technology and the AI, you know, coming up, they've had many movies showing this. I can't remember the Jamie Foxx movie where he was a fighter pilot. They were flying with the one plane that was an AI plane, and it
over. I remember that.
Yeah, and it got
intelligent.
Yeah, it got on its own thing and just started, you know, doing its thing. Well, one of the things is Africans that we can be proactive on, so that we're in the flow with technology, is we have to, like they say, Sankofa, and go back and what is African technology? And African technology, like Red was saying, deals with natural forces. They've just figured a way how to say, okay, we're going to put these natural forces together and come up with what we have now, how we're doing this video thing right now. Natural resources and forces. So we have methodology on how to actually tap into that force so that we can understand it and be able to manipulate and be in the flow with it on a basic level and higher levels, And then now you could be in tune, you could be in the flow with the different things that happen, and it won't be detrimental to you. You know, our head can be programmed. Every African tradition has a way to program your ori, your head. If you're not programming your head and you turn on the TV in the morning, now that's your program.
Fact.
You know, if you're not programming your head before you go to bed, or you just falling out because you just sleepy. The last thing you checking your Facebook before you go to bed, that's your program when you going into the do-what. Like we gotta go into our technology, and sometimes that's gonna take learning. No, not sometimes. It's always gonna take submitting to the process of that. So don't be scared. Don't be afraid of the technology, but you got to stand on some type of platform, some type of basis, and it got to be an African one. It can't be, you know, you just got all the new phones and all the new stuff, and every time you wake up, you know, like we got our own way of methodology and our own way of filtering and getting in the flow of technology, because technology is technology. You know, it's for whoever's going to use it and whoever's got the control of it, and how we're going to be proactive in getting with it. You know what I mean?
So you know what? I'm going to have to throw out a question for both my brothers right now. And, you know, the question is centered around technology. It's centered around this whole digital evolution. I wanted to know, what practical steps can we give, you know, what, everybody who's listening right now, wherever they are on their particular journey, how they can utilize, you know, this revolution, this evolution, this digital technological age and era that we're in. How can we utilize that right now and for the future generation? So what I mean by that is the future generation. What should we be doing with our children to get them ready for this evolution that's taking place? Do we put them into app building classes? Do we you know what, take them on travels to technologically advanced you know what, countries or just departments that are dealing with new technology that hasn't actually emerged yet? How do we take them, put them in that type of environment, let them soak in that information, you know, come back to their own community, see what they're lacking, and kind of have a merger of where the technology is going and where we're at right now, and how they can utilize it in their own environment and birth something new for the future generations. So that's kind of the first thing. What should we do for our children? Second thing is, what should we do for ourselves? A lot of us feel like we're old dogs and we can't be taught new tricks. So what type of technology can we now learn about and to be able to utilize it in our life to bring in some type of you know, some type of you know, economic progression in our life?
I would say the first thing that we need to do, definitely with our children, with ourselves, but definitely with our children. And I know, I mean, everywhere I talk about this, I always get the big deep sigh and the, oh God, but raise your children. That means you're going to have to get into it as parents. Raise your children in the African traditional way. What is your African technology? Number one African technology is ancestors. How do you deal with your ancestors? This, and I know this seems like, oh, that's not the same thing, but that's our technology. They have to first see the power in their own. I'm only talking about Africans, not Europeans, nobody else. Us. Our children have to see the power in their own technology. It has to work for them. Okay? That means you're going to have to get in. As Africans, we got to get into that. We got to find out, how does divination work for you? Your children have to all of a sudden realize that their technology works for them first. The natural forces of things. Let it be on the basic level of your divination. Hey, one of my children, that's the way they find their toys in the house. They got all kinds of toys. They lose them. They can't find them. What do? They go to their ancestral shrine and they throw on it and they find their toys. You can't tell them, uh-oh, have I lost y'all? I don't know. It seemed like it got stuck.
Nope, you're right here with us.
Do y'all hear
right
me?
Here, because you're touching on some real information. I know my brother Gano Grills was going in on this, talking about having your shrine in your house, having certain things to contact. That's your portal to the next realm.
Right.
To get in there.
Exactly.
Obviously, I know you deal with the IFA system, so you have your divination boards, you deal with the audit. So please keep on going, King.
Yeah, but that's our technology that we got to lock in with first. I didn't say you got to be a high priest and all of that. There are basics because it's a lifestyle. African tradition, the word tradition can be synonymous with lifestyle. Your children have to respect and use the technology of African tradition. They got to empower them. When they feel empowered by that, that's their foundation. Now they're ready to go check other things. They can get on the tablets. They can do all kind of, but because they know when they wake up, the first thing they're doing is they're changing waters. They're getting in the mode, standing not on a mystery level, but a real practical level. How do these shrines and things work? They got to know the motherboard, the backside of the technology. And it's an easy thing. Once they're on that, and that means the parents got to be on that, and it's going to be generational, because I wasn't raised like that, but now I know it and I'm on it. My children are raised like that. This phenomenon might not even really take off fully till my grandchildren. You know what I mean? But it got to start now. You know what I mean? And we'll be able to then really take advantage of, we'll be able to be in the flow and be able to master. That's when we get up off the chessboard. Now we're not on the board. We're actually controlling what's happening on the board. Okay, that's where Africans always been. We've always been the seniors of the planet, controlling who's on the board. We're above the board. But you can't get above the board being moved by the forces. You got to be in the flow with the forces. And that, in my opinion, that would be the first thing. And then we can keep building, things first. We can't, the information is the application and getting behind the motherboard. What's behind there? You know what I mean? And understanding how we fall into it. How does it work with us? Because African technology, everybody's trying to put their flag on that. And we got it. We have that innately. So that's what I'd like to add on that.
Definitely. I know we can also do a show, African technology or the spiritual technology and obviously the digital technology. I want to see if those two will even combine or does actually combine.
Yes. So they're the same.
We're going to go into that soon. We're going to go into that. But yeah, Red.
They definitely combine. Mm-hmm. I'm in total agreement with my brother about, first and foremost, being able to understand what technology is before we, enter into the realms of machinery, because there's a difference. What we're doing right now is technology. A lecture is technology. The dissemination of ideas and concepts and, consciousness, that is considered technology. Mental technology precedes machine technology. You had to conceive this, blueprint it, think about it, come up with the parts, you know what I mean? Work it out through concept and through conceptual designs and other things before it actually worked, right? So
that's right.
Yeah. So that is the technology that precedes that. Now, because the African, I was sharing it, that there's a boom in Africa of technology that's taking place where the engineers, the ones who were the engineers in the past, right? have reincarnated, and they're engineering by the utilization of mathematics and problem solving. Right? The app is an application. An application is information, applying it, right? When you apply it as an application, and those applications tend to be problem solvers. Like Uber is an app for the people who could never catch a yellow cab. Now you just press a button and it comes to you, right?
Right.
But it's also a disruptor. It's also seen as a disruptor. It's called a software as a service, a SaaS. Uber, Airbnb, all of these are disruptors. They disrupted the industries that they belong to. Uber disrupted the hotel industry. No, Uber disrupted the transportation industry. Airbnb disrupted the hotel industry. Emails disrupted the postal service. So our nature is naturally being disruptors. We have to be a disruptor in this world that we live in right now, because this world is disrupting us. You feel me? So it's disrupt or be disrupted. So I would teach the children, the babies, I would teach them about what's taking place in India, what's taking place in the continent of Africa, and what's taking place in Asia Minor, before I show them what the Europeans are doing with technology. And I will explain to them that each one of these cultures they're tapping into their ancient divination systems before they tap into what is known as the modern day technology, because the Asian is dealing with the I Ching, the Indian is dealing with Brahma and all of these other things, so they're tapping in, and the Asian is dealing with other divination systems and higher levels. Hold on.
Right, indeed, man. And I don't know, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, King.
Yeah, like he was saying, and the divination systems is binary code. Computers are built off of binary code. That's all divination is. Well, I won't say that's all it is, but that's basically what it is, binary code. It's been explained like that in many divination systems. So for the children to understand divination system, they can understand coding. You know what I mean? Like, for them to see it work for them in a practical way, they can now think outside the box. I mean, it's something else to watch. I watch my children play, and they create worlds and solve so many problems and do so much stuff just based on how the first things they do when they wake up. So our children they play a different way. They are mad about different things that other children are mad about. That they're not even thinking on that level. Like, he said, and that's a great question, because we have to raise it. It has to become a lifestyle. It has to become a tradition to be creators. We have to have a creator's tradition. It can't be, well, okay, this is like my daughter's computer. She's using Windows 10. Mm-hmm. And, when she gets on it, she's flying. She's killing it. I get on it and I can't do nothing with it because, I wasn't born with what she's born with. I wasn't started on the same platform with what she was started with. So she moves in a different way. She thinks in a different way. And it got to be generational. She'll teach it to her children. She'll teach the African tradition as a lifestyle to her child. It'll be as natural as brushing teeth. You know what I mean? And so they'll be figuring out things for themselves and their families and our communities in an African methodology, in our way. So, yeah, man, I love it. Yeah, the technology that we're seeing is the same technology as we've had before. If we know our technology, then we can be in the flow of all of this, and use it to our advantage.
Definitely, definitely. If you're loving this information so far that you're hearing, please, please, please hit the like button. Give us a big thumbs up. Let us know that you're actually loving the information. If you've got any questions or comments that you actually want to leave the brothers, please drop them down in the comment section. We're definitely going to read out those comments as well. So I want to just, make sure I'm there with you, just to make sure this is the key, one of the key things.
Right.
Get ourselves and our children involved in one, our spiritual sciences. Two,
Yes.
would you say get them involved in problem solving activities? And
Yes.
three,
Yes. And let them use our African traditions to be the mechanisms that solve the problem.
there you go. There we go.
Like, yeah,
And then the third
and what
one,
was three?
the third one is get involved with modern technology, and then combining all of those things together for them to be the new Imhotep, for them to be the new Jehuti, for them to be the new Ptah. Is that what we're saying right now?
Fact, they'll come with the new technology. Like what we're working on right now and how we're doing this, as we already know, next year this is old, it's something else. Well, our children will create something totally out of the box. Totally out of the box, out of our heads, our boxes, because I don't know how y'all grew up. I know Red went to an African Centered school growing up. Me, I grew up in Florida. I went to public school, hang that nigga. That was what it was all about. From kindergarten to into college. How can we make this man be batteries for white supremacy? That's what my whole schooling was. And it wasn't until the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, mentioned to the black man, all of a sudden, I found out I was God. I was on my way. You know what I mean? But it took, that was I was in my 20s. My children now, man, they knew they were God at 3. They knew that. They knew they was God off the rip. But then when it's talking about trying to get this communication going on, I tell them that, but then now they've proven it to themselves that they're the masters of their destiny. They're in charge. They can find out whether you're about to make a wrong decision. You going to lie about this, or you going to get away with that lie? They'll divine on it. Should I do this or not? They'll divine on that. Like, they coming up in a whole nother way. So, yeah, man. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, they're going to create the new stuff. You know what I mean?
That's real. That's real. I can't wait, because I know the way I'm seeing it is we're, in our teens, in our 20s, we grew up on TV. I'm sure in their teens and their 20s, they're going to be growing up with hologram TVs or hologram images.
You know it.
And then after that, their children or even them will be the inventors of, I don't know. Let me put it like this: they'll be able to see the TV in 3D or even 4D in their minds rather than externally. That's the way I'm seeing it. That's how I want my children to be one of the first ones to be inventing those things. So this is some.
That's right.
Yeah, so, real quick.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you could go to Google and go, top 10 free apps for children, or top 10 free you could just go to Google and write how to build an app for free. How to create video games for free. For the homeschoolers that are out there, for the parents who see that their children are digitally inclined, meaning that they can operate digital devices without instructions. Your child seems to be hardwired to participate in the era or the epoch that your child has been born into. You know what I mean? Like what we were able to do thousands of years ago, it's been updated to today. So the level of sorcery that's taking place is, or the level of high, a level of high sorcery is in code writing, Kabbalah, creating worlds, out of thought, out of light. These things are taking place in Silicon Valley The reason why I was saying to introduce them to spiritual systems before they get into technology is because you don't want them to worship Europeans, thinking that Europeans are the pinnacle of technology because of the marketing campaign behind Apple. Introduce them into the global movement of technology that doesn't have a white face to it. Like I said, India, Asia, and the continent of Africa, and in other places in America, because unfortunately, they're not, the rappers are not, they're not tech savvy right now. So the children don't equate technology to melanin.
Right.
So it's well, and it's not going to hurt us. It's actually, look, the room that I'm in right now, I'm encouraging you to have rooms with computers in it to bring at-risk youth into facilities where you can teach them how to code. They have these, or they have something called a maker generation. And the maker generation are working with 3D printers. It's just a whole community of creators. So 3D printers should be in our households. When you think of a concept, you should be able to 3D print it. They're 3D printing guns or gun parts. They're 3D printing cars and houses. They're 3D printing body parts now. All of these are accessible to the regular quote unquote man, woman, and child, the layman. So I'm with all of that. Some of these children they're not interested in the traditional way of reading books or what they feel is old. They're looking at us like we old school. So they're gravitating towards digital the light era, the light code. Remember, there was a jump from analog to digital. These children are digital. So if you want to keep their attention, you better be able to pull some shit up that you created, you know what I mean? And with this conscious community, they better start getting tech savvy and start kicking some apps out and shit like that, because everybody's doing stuff off of the mobile. Why are you not advancing with the mobile? Why are you waiting for an update or a download or a new app to come out and you don't even know what's going on in those apps? You're not collecting the data we're participating in these platforms in the millions, and we don't have any fucking data. We don't even know our behaviors. This stuff.
Wow.
This shit is absurd. So there's so many tools that have been laid out. I have a series called The Evolution Will Be Digitized, and I'll be willing to come on your show, Khalil. And it's like 3 hours. It goes into a lot of questions that you're asking. But I'm pro technology. But like Tahir said, I'm pro African technology before anything. You have to have foundation. I'm not trying. We don't need to. I'm not working this shit where we're speculating anymore. I'm not trying to speculate with no Negroes if they down with us or if they got their mind right or what foundation they standing on. Because if you don't have a foundation, you're a coon. You're that nigga and get out. You know what I mean? You know, the guy would. You have the European brain inside of your black body. If you don't have this upgrade, you fooled right now. And even people with the upgrade is questionable. So, you know, God bless the niggas with no foundation. You're done in this reality. You're gonna be a mindless slave, because when AI kicks in after virtual Oculus Rift and all of that washes you up, they're gonna have the people by the balls. I'm sorry to say it. So consciousness, awareness, and consciousness is the power of, you know, knowing is half the battle. So if I know if I understand technology, and if I know it, and if I understand it, I can reverse engineer. They'll never catch me in a wow moment. Like they won't have me as a slave, but they got our people slave to the iPhone, slave to the Galaxy, slave batteries. They just feeding off of them. You know what I mean? Eating off of them. Once again, they're in a new matrix. So, yeah. Hopefully that answers the question.
Definitely. You know what? One of the questions I have to ask now: is there a difference, or what is the difference between African spirituality and the African-centered psychology?
The African spirituality is sometimes I don't like to use that, because it's a way to compartmentalizing what the lifestyle is. You know what I mean? The psychology is one thing, and the spirituality is one thing, but we got to start looking at our stuff that's holistic. We're complete. You know what I mean? We're like the spirituality. You know, what you say when you put on your shoes every day. What you say, what you're doing, what's on your, you know what I mean? Like that whole thing is, we have to start looking at it in a holistic way. Spirituality is a part. It's kind of like how, yeah, you know what? It's kind of European to say African spirituality. That's compartmentalization. That's how the Europeans say, okay, we have church and state. When in an African sense, and it's been like this, the priests are also the teachers, are also part of the military strategy, are also part of advancing the technology. All we play all the role, and that's the tradition. To put our finger on one piece is to slow the other pieces down. It's all moving at the same time. And that's what I mean by our methodology on how we explain how we explain it and how we live it. You know what I'm saying? How we live it. So, you know, the African, the dancing is part of the tradition. You know, I'm talking about the booty shake, getting down on. Why is she doing that dance? That's part of the tradition. You know, somebody making the wrong decision and out there, and this is going to sound crazy, but somebody making the wrong decision and taking advantage of our people, African making that decision. That's part of our tradition because it exists within our, and so we have an explanation and a way to deal with that in our lifestyle. You know what I mean? So the psychology, how we're coming up with our thoughts, and I mean with our manifesting our thoughts, and you know how we're coming up with our mores and all of these things. That's part of our tradition. So I would just like to move that we look at it in a holistic way. And I know this is, because I get met with it a lot. Oh man, so you trying to tell me I got to reset the game? I'm like, yo, if you want to win, you got to sometimes you got to recognize, yo, I might have to reset the game. Reset the game and start from here. And just know that it's generational. It's not going to end with you. It'll begin with you, but maybe you start seeing this thing start ramping up with your grandchildren, if you're blessed long enough to see that, you know, because in your DNA, you're coming back. You know, we are our ancestors' return. You coming back, but what you gonna come back to? You gonna come back to fruit that from the tree you planted, or you gonna come back to the same problem on how we gonna jump up and get the fruit from this other tree over here? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the difference in that. You know, I remember seeing a debate on your channel, Kalam, with Aunt the God Killer and this white cat, and it was crazy because Aunt was giving them the business, saying, "Yo, I don't even respect your paradigm of thinking. You're compartmentalized. I'm not even gonna get in that. I'm a holistic thinker." I remember him killing them on that. And the white boy was just frustrated, like, "You're not answering the question." He said, "I already answered it." You know, he's like, he was hitting them with our methodology, our way we go into things. And when we look at things like that, that's when we win. That's when we're in the flow with technology. You know, when we're looking at it in a holistic fashion, you know, and not it's outside of us, or here's this point, here's this and here's that. No, it's the whole joint. And yeah, go ahead, Red. I'm just,
All right, real quickly.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, brother, because African psychology, would be the antithesis to Western society's psychology, which we see doesn't necessarily cater to an African mind. It hasn't been conducive to us in the wilderness of North America to think like a European or to have a westernized mind. And a westernized mind is very fragmented and deal with the holistic approach to life. Like you said, it's not tying us into nature, the mineral and animal kingdom. It's not, it doesn't deal with homeostasis. So the European deals with negating, and they always want to divide and conquer. And psychology and spirituality somehow is separated in their psychology, which doesn't make sense, because me studying African spirituality or traditional system helps me understand the psychology of an African. And it also helps me with my psychology. So, they're both intricately related. To be honest with you, some of the sharpest Africans that I've come across have not been the religious ones. No disrespect to them. And if they were the religious ones, they had a high level of spirituality as their foundation. They were Gnostics,
Right.
They just have a more holistic, totality to them, a real centered approach, versus the ones who are spooked out with a European religion. They're fragmented. They're all over the place. You know what I mean? They contradict themselves a lot. So
right.
That would be me adding on to that question.
Definitely. All right. Please, everybody who's tuned in right now, if you're loving the information, I want you to obviously give us a big thumbs up. But apart from that, please hit the share button, share this link via your Facebook, via your YouTube, your Google, your Reddit, your whatever, Snapchat, Instagram, wherever you are on. Let everybody know right now, my two great big brothers are going in. We've got Tahir RBG, and we're definitely going to be hitting on that RBG information real shortly. I got a lot of people over here in the UK. They're loving the information, and they see this information. They don't understand the terminology of most of this information. It's all new to them. Some of them are coming from religious backgrounds, whether they're Muslim, Christians, atheists. They tend to be coming from a religious background, and they're hearing all these different terminologies, and they're always coming up to me and be like, Kalam, could you please tell us, what does this word here mean? And I'm thinking to myself, I need to make a conscious community for dummies, basically 101. To bring everybody up to speed with what's actually going on.
Right.
So we've got our two big brothers here. Of course, we've got Brother Red Pill with us as well. So please just hit the share button. Let everybody know, that we're live right now. I actually want to share my screen if I can. I need to do a quick promo. I haven't done any promo for a little while, so let me do some promo. All right, so you can see my screen right now. Let me go to YouTube first. That's my first promo spot. So YouTube. Here we go. So for those of you who are tuned in right now and you haven't already subscribed, Titans TV, we have a lot of conscious lectures, discussions, debates, and interviews. We try to do a show every single Wednesday, and multiple times during the week as well. Quite recently, or just like a couple hours ago, we had our brother Minister Enki on, doing the facts behind alkaline water and more. To be honest with you, he was just breaking down the holistic hustlers and just exposing them for what they are, and the different the different codes, different methods that they use, which have been proven not to be really efficient as once thought. We've also got our brother here, Necheneb, deciphering the hieroglyphs and giving a great supplement to the the debate that was going on with the Amun-Ra squad, and brother our General Seti, who's actually coming over to the UK next month. So stay tuned for that. And Young Pharaoh as well. Well, not Young Pharaoh, but Young Pharaoh is going to be here over in the US doing a live stream over here very shortly as well. We've got our brother as well, brother Siraj, that was doing Accessing the Man in the Mirror, giving a great breakdown on mental illness, mental illnesses and different types of things that's going on in our psyche as a Black community, that we should be looking out for and helping each other on. And of course, we had myself and Brother Khonsu breaking down the Kemetic mystery system in the Bible, the Quran, and Freemasonry, touching on the Arabic school of thought, which is Idris, a brother called Idris in the Quran, who's known as Enoch in the Bible, and Jehuti or Thoth in Egyptian texts as well. So we've done a great exposition on that. We've also had our brother Stephen Graham that was breaking down who the Edenic people were, breaking down where the Black Israelites come from and how they have African genealogy inside of them, or a Hamitic genealogy inside of them. We also had my brother Zion Lex coming onto the show, unveiling the Kabbalah. So, we've had some great shows. We've also got Speaker's Corner. If you haven't tuned into Speaker's Corner, please tune into that. We have loads of debates between Kemetics, Muslims, Jews, Christians, atheists, all different types of people come down to Speaker's Corner. And also, please just check out the different playlists that we do have here on the channel itself. Before we go back into the regular scheduled program, I definitely want you lot to check this out. On the 4th of March, Saturday, the 4th of March, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., we've got SHAPE, SHAPE, going on at the Community Center 3903 in Houston. And that's, of course, we've got my brothers that are here right now. Brother Tahir RBG, Knowledge Born Allah, Red Pill and Blue Pill. And they're going to be breaking down some powerful information. Let me see if I can get the next one up. So we got it right here. We got it right here. Right here. Is this going to be live streamed?
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be live streamed. So you can purchase the live streaming tickets. I believe you can purchase it on rbgexplosion.com.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, that's cool. We've also got my brother, or the company, the Bill Miner Company. That's a good brother as well, who's be supporting it as well. And we've got DTK, Do the Knowledge University, supporting it as well. So if you lot, you know what, I did cut Red, but Red, if you could, give a quick overview of what is going to be taking place on that day.
Well, what we're going to be doing, good brother, is the title of the event is called the RBG Explosion. So we're going to take advantage of the times that we live in, and we're going to take advantage of, the fact that all three of us have been doing some monumental work in the community, and we have research that we want to share with the family. And we're going to take that time to share it with the Texas family. Particularly, we're going to talk about Texas as well. The historical narrative that goes with Texas. Some of the brothers and sisters live on the land of Texas and have no conscious ties to their land, meaning they don't know the Aboriginal history of Texas. They don't know who they are in Texas. They find themselves under attack. They find themselves being displaced from their land. They find themselves being removed from their land. They find themselves being targeted by an open enemy. And they say the word racism. I say it's deeper than that.
Yeah. I
say that racism is one of those dumbed down excuses that reconfiguring the narrative, revising the narrative. They had us going this way because they had all kind of rebuttals to a weak argument like racism is bigger than racism. And we're going to talk to the family about the history of Texas, the mound building civilization, the Olmecs, some of the claims that have land, the Texas land, the Louisiana land, which is very mineral rich with oil, carbon, a whole bunch of other things. And these cowboys and these murderers, you do what I'm saying, these robber barons who exist out there in Texas, in Florida, and other places where they took it by the barrel of a gun, talking about make America great again. These are mobsters, you know what I'm saying? Like these are
Right.
Beyond what a gangster is, these are, you know, these people have come to pillage, they've come to rape, they've come to destroy. They're almost like an alien species because of the damage that they've done to the planet in such an short amount of time. I think that they would fall under the category of parasites. They're global, they're parasites, they're galactic parasites because they've come to this planet, and you know that they're not from the planet because, like I said earlier, it took a black woman at NASA to help them leave the planet. She came up with the mathematical equation. They were bold enough to show that to you niggas in 2017 and call it hidden figures.
Woo!
So what is a hidden figure? That means there's some inside of their machine on their motherboard. There's a hidden figure in that motherboard that helps that shit run, and that's the black body. Bottom line, the black battery is. I'm not trying to separate the genders because, you know, black men are the battery as well. But we come from the black woman would have the equations on how to leave the planet. She would have the mathematical, equation on how to exit the stratosphere because she's the one who came here with it. Look at the woman on the moon, black woman with locks on the moon. You know what I'm saying? Like, research that. When we were in school, it was always the sisters who were the head of the class. They were always the head of the class. They always had the information. They always retained information. They were always computers. Like, so when I saw that movie, I understood what they were conveying and whatnot. But we need to come together and take this information that we have, this engineering skills, these trades that we have, this technological skill. Brothers in Texas are builders. They have a lot of open land. It's time to start building. The brothers in Georgia, the brothers in Texas, you know what I mean? They have opportunity more than the brothers in New York do because they have access to land, resources.
Right.
They know how to till the soil like people in New York don't. They've never tilled the soil a day in their life. You can't hold that against them. It's regional. It has to do with your regional location. So there's Texas that could open carry. They exercise their Second Amendment. In New York, there's no such thing as a Second Amendment. We can't carry. You can't fly into New York with a firearm. So if we're going to talk about PMCs or private military contractors or what they call security agencies, that if you don't have that conversation in these next 4 years, you're not going to make it to 2020. You'll be a fucking fool. We're not having the same conversations that they're having online in the quote unquote nigger world, the Negro world, you know, the Remy and Nikki. That's cute for conversation. We could break it down and decode it, but you know, it's entertainment. And once we're off of that, we're on something else, which is a very serious talk. We use these conversations to get people in the room. And once they get in the room, we close the doors and we talk about something a little more serious. So, you know, it's the time to stop talking and bumping your gums and not living up to what you talk about, because there's a lot of people out here that just talk a good one and they not about that life. They fail miserably in their job description. You dig what I'm saying? And if you keep entertaining, if we entertain that as a community, and if we keep giving people passes, then we can't complain when the community falls flat on their face when the motherfucker runs when it's time to bust shots.
That's right.
We need to talk to our brothers and sisters about the seriousness of the time that they're living in. Look at them. They're playing out people with a Hegelian dialect. All of the Neanderthal Europeans are on code. You saw that the other night with Donald Trump and his fucking speech in front of Congress. All of a sudden, he's cool. Right? All of a sudden, he's not such a bad guy. And they had standing ovation. Oh my goodness. Because he's speaking in code. He's delivering on the promise to make this America even more of a dictatorship, a plutocracy, collectivism, and all of the other things that they're aiming for, because they want to take care of what is known as the nigger problem or the black or more problem, or whatever you want to attribute it to it. Paris is burning. You over there across the pond in London. They turning up over there. Everybody's going far right, meaning that the European mind state they deal with groupthink. They're collectively going back into a mind state where it was Christendom, it was us against them. They were taking, there was an imperialistic strike around the world, World War I, World War II, where they were using weapons of mass destruction to take over and to forward manifest destiny, or to forward white superiority, or the concept of that on a global scale. And we're in the throes of what is known as a global depopulation. So Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg running around trying to give you niggas vaccinations. If you don't run from that and throw that shit back at them, I don't know what's going on. All of the spirit cooking and the child pedophilia that's going on in Haiti, Jamaica with the organ harvesting, over in Syria, they're blowing up buildings, killing the parents and selling the children as sex slaves to these old ass fucking sheiks in Qatar, in Kuwait, and all of this. The little boys in Afghanistan, there's a trend in Afghanistan. The soldiers who went over there would tell you that the warlords, the big sheiks, have little boys as fuck boys. You know what I mean? That's their tradition. That's their tradition. So the world is going crazy right now, and black people are trying to keep up with the Kardashians. They're trying to keep up with the craziness. They're trying to out savage the fucking savage beast. So we're trying to completely remove ourselves from ever being, you know, painted with that brush. We're focusing on the people who are focused. We're talking to the people whose ears don't have wax in them, and whose eyes, whose veils are lifted. We're not really focusing on the people who don't. We're not in the room trying to twist arms and convince people, you know, that this information could save their lives. If they're not on the frequency and the wave, then they serve a purpose that may be different from the purpose that we serve at the moment. They could wake up later. I didn't say anything. I'm not damning nobody, and I'm not judging them. I'm only focusing on the millions of people who showed up ready to fucking dance and ready to get this thing cracking. That's who needs to be talked to right now. I need them to get back to us about what they're ready to do and what they're ready to do. What we need to happen this year before 2017 ends is a grand gathering. Not one day, not for a few hours till niggas get kicked out. A whole weekend. Somewhere on sovereign land, like the brother said when he called up the other day. Somewhere where white people are nowhere around us, and they cannot come around us and talk to us and listen to us and do any of these things, because this conversation that we're having at this point in time, or this juncture in time, is race specific. It's race specific. When we get our shit together, we could meet you in the vestibule or the gazebo and fill you in as to what was said and whatnot. But it's come time where the doors have to close. We got to iron this. No more Rosenbergs. We don't want them at the party. I'm sorry. We just don't have time for that. You know what I mean? So that's what we're going to Texas to talk to Texas about. I have an app for Know the Ledge that's in iTunes stores right now. I have a membership site that's launching with Facts Initiative. And you know, I can only talk for the movement that we're building up, and the comrades that I have, who I focus, who I see are out there vibrating on similar frequencies and have a concerted, you know, goal at hand. Because if you got 2, 3, or 4 different people with different goals, and y'all gonna trip up on each other. Some niggas just want their phone bill to get paid. They just want some box. They want to, you know, they want a shea butter queen. You know, that's what they in it for. I'm sorry. Some people are just here, you know, for the comments. They just showed up for the comments. You know what I mean? They're not here to put their whole thing on the line. They're not here sacrificing their safety, their time, and all of these things. They're not studying. They're not tapping in. There's certain things that you can't get out of a book. It's called mentalism. That's right. Clairvoyant, seeing the future, being able to forecast. You can't read that in the book. So some people are here exerting their greatness. They're tapping into their divination, their gods within, innate, and they're showing that to the world. And I fucks with those people the long way. You know what I mean? I respect everything that they're about. They are the ones who make me feel like that, you know, I wasn't off course when we reincarnated, because you could walk these streets and feel like you're trapped in a prison, or you may have, like, there's been days when I look for bullet holes, like
Did I wake up in hell? Did a nigga is this the Sixth Sense? Am I dead, my niggas? Because these niggas around me, yeah, this shit really look like I'm in a bad episode of The Walking Dead with these zombies that's out here. So, you know, I understand this is the Kali Yuga. This is a dark time. You know what I mean? It was, you know, when we agreed to come back, we agreed to come back with some flashlights on our phones because we knew we was in the dark ages. So you just got to live through it. You got to keep doing what you do and turn the lights on. And that's what we doing.
All right. So you know what? I have to actually ask this question so I can get my audience members up to speed with certain terminology right now. So right now, I'm going to go into the RBG. My brother Tahir. So I want to know, what is this red, black, and green? What is this RBG about? You know, I hear this all the time. I see my brother in the background. Knowledge born a lot. If you raise your thing up, I see this flag going on. You know, I saw this back in Malcolm X's days. I saw this flag. What is this RBG? What is RBG all about? You know, hold on, let me just quickly get the trainers in again. Once more. Let's get those trainers in again. You know, what is this color coding going on? What's this RBG all about?
That's right. RBG. RBG is the letters stand for red, black, and green. As from the flag that the African liberation flag that was given to us by Marcus Garvey. It's been metamorphosized into quite a bit, from revolutionary but gangster by my brother's dead prayers to real black girls. You know, we take things and flip it and bounce it. But RBG, as of today, it's a lifestyle. I like to go as far as to say it's a African tradition that for us Africans who were involved in the Ma'afa and just over here and we're making it happen because we're Africans as well. Yo, it's something that it's our technology that we then came up with. Okay, it's a full lifestyle. And African liberation is one of the goals and tenets of the lifestyle. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. And I'll say generally, as far as RBG Nation, we got tribes, you know, and it's an organization as well. It's tribes that represent it from, you know, we're going to Texas. We got Dallas RBGs. We got Lone Star RBG. We got, you know, and quite a few others. And, you know, that's what it is on a general scope. We got UK RBGs. Shout out to those. My man Jack King out there. Gallant. We got a few, you know, and those are the few that I know out there in UK. Shout out to y'all. Salute. Jeez. Black Power.
Some big names out here still. Okay.
Yo, we connected, Kalam. Like, yo, we Africans, baby. So, yeah, man, that's what it is. And like I say, it's a lifestyle. It's not something that we put on, even though, yes, we do have the flags. We do have our RBG flag. It does have a meaning, you know, all of those things. However, that's not just it. It's also, again, the tradition. You know what I mean? And our tradition, our lifestyle empowers us. So, you know, and I'm gonna say this right quick, and then I'm gonna get back on that. When I think about when we talk about African tradition and empowerment, the technology, you can be a follower and subscribe to the Christian doctrine and be an African traditionalist. You can subscribe to the Muslim doctrine and be an African traditionalist. You can subscribe to whatever doctrine you want, but African lifestyle forces. So water is wet to a Christian. Water is wet to a Muslim. Water is wet to a Moor, a Hebrew, whatever you claim. That's a natural force, and there's a way to manipulate that phenomenon of water. There's a way to manipulate the phenomena of air. And within the Ifa tradition, which is the African tradition, we call that water Emoja or Oshun, Oya. We call that electricity, Shango. You know, the heat, Shango. We call, you know, all of these are names that we've given it so that we can just get a grasp on it as far as communication. But these are natural forces and applications that are inside of you and outside of you. You know, it's nothing mystical, spooky. So I like to say that. And then coming back to RBG, this stuff has to work for us. In America, we at war. I know in the UK, y'all at war too. We Africans are globally at war to and on a quest for African liberation. So whatever we're doing, whatever we're taking in, the information, it has to be applied. It's enough of just having it and learning and decoding for decoding's sake. It has to be an application for it. It has to be a way to use this in our lifestyle of living. That's RBG. It's application. Okay, so if whatever we're doing is RB, as I'll go ahead and say as an RBG. I don't like to use that because, you know, people start making separations. But in an RBG lifestyle, an African lifestyle, application is paramount. You know, we don't just do it just to do it. I'm not getting this information to stun on you. I'm getting information to apply it and use it. And if I can't apply it, I don't say to hell with it. I just can't use it right now. Maybe it ain't time yet. You know what I'm saying? That's like giving game. You know, you're teaching a young man or you teaching a young woman the dance called Sunu. That's an African dance. Sunu, I think it's Sunu. Sunu is an African dance to show the men that I'm ready. A young woman is ready to get with you. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a real Oshun dance. Now, why would I show Sunu to a 5-year-old girl? She shouldn't know Sunu. That's African technology too soon. You understand? So I understand, but that don't mean that she might know the dance, but she need to put that information up right now until it's applicable. You know what I mean? That's that's RBG lifestyle, applicable information, and for our African liberation. This ain't just so we could just be trotting around and now I'm just, I'm doing a million lectures and, I'm just using it. Nah, this is to apply. This is to apply. And that's what the difference is when we say RBGs. You know, a lot of people think we just kicking up dust. We doing more than that. We creating dust. We using the dust. You know what I'm saying? So
That's real. You know what I want to know as well, because this might not be related to RBG, but it's more to the more side of things. I'm just everywhere across my social medias, my YouTube, my Facebook. It seems as there is like a grand barrage and attack going against the Moors at present. I don't know what's going on, man. Why is there so much energy at focus on Moors at present in such a negative light?
Man, I don't know, man. I know from a lot of folks. Well, I'll use myself personally. My encounters with brothers who call themselves Moors. Nowadays, it's not like this, but at the beginning, they were really trying to. They were saying some things, and to me personally, I would say, about the laws and the law of the land. And one of my questions, which now, I say, hey, man, well, regardless, this brother's trying to get us free. And I appreciate the Moorish Science temples. I appreciate their dedication to our people to get us liberated. and that's what counts. But one of the things that I used to ask was, who's going to police? Who's going to enforce the things that, you know, like we go into the court, and so we in these crackers' court, or we in the court where the crackers got a gun and you've been stripped of your gun. So, you know, if they ready to bust on you, you better be nice like Neo with dodging them bullets. But if you're not, you know, so if we in there and we say, hey, you know, nah, according to this, that, and the third, you know, you got, I'm out of here. What's to keep them? And you're correct, and the brother is correct in everything. What keeps the savage cracker from not going savage on you? You know what I'm saying? And that's all. You know, that's my thing, because I'm concerned about the safety of my brothers, man. I don't like. I got a sister out here that's where I'm at in Orlando, was going to jail back and forth, and she got children. Yo, that shit was breaking my heart, because she was trying to do the things that she was learning, and maybe she learned it the wrong way. Maybe she wasn't saying, of course, yeah, she wasn't saying the right thing, because whatever was happening, it was putting her family under stress. You know what I'm saying? And it's not, I don't blame the Moorish Science Temple. I'm saying, let's come with the solution, so that in all aspects we're successful. You know what I mean? Yeah, I've never been one of them brothers to down them. You know, like, you know, I'm saying, how can we be successful? And how people feel, I mean, I don't know. I guess you have to ask them. I'm pretty much focused on what unifies us and how we big up. Because I got brothers that I'm close with, that are in the Science Temple, and we do work. We get things accomplished. They come get spiritual work done. They understand, yo, they got a link on this. They got a hold on this. Hey, I'm gonna give that. If I'm caught up with the law or something like that, I'm gonna say, yo, man, I'm fucked up over here. What can I do? You know, I've been good where I haven't had that problem, because, you know, like I say, I'm using that African technology. You know, yo, the cops can't fuck with me. But you know what I'm saying? And I'll be doing the most. And you know, and I don't have to worry about that. But you know, I think yeah, it's time out for our divisions. We got to get that division out and get to the basis of what it is we could get accomplished together.
All right, Red, I don't know did you have anything else to chime in on that?
I would just go back to what I was saying earlier about the need for a gathering. You know what I mean? I've done a series called Fear of a Black Moon Messiah. Inside that series, I shared the directives of COINTELPRO from the 60s and how that applies to today. You know, I do feel that some conversations have been inserted in our community from agent provocateurs and ulterior motives. The whole Islamophobia that's taking place, where you got niggas that are cheering, they're cheering the Muslim ban and whatnot, and they're pro-American, right?
Wow.
And they're siding with these Neanderthals and these European pilgrims who are basically thieves of this land. And because they acquiesce to the whole we nothing but slaves mentality, you know, they don't identify the Americas as any of their ancestral land. So it's almost like they forfeited the fight. They letting crackers just come and steal oil, water, the birds, the damn, you know what I mean? They paying for gas, lights, and they just go with the program. They more slave than any fucking slave I've ever seen in some of these, in some cases. And then you got groups of brothers and sisters from schools of knowledge who give you different tools on how not to play the game, or, you know, alternatives on how not to play the game. There's a way to say, yo, to get this energy off of me, I'm gonna go ahead and kill a rooster. Then there's other ways of saying, yo, to get this Neanderthal, this energy that they got off of me, I'm gonna go ahead and put the power of the pen to work. I'm gonna cast a spell on paper. Then there's other people who like, yo, in order to fight this cracker, I'ma just run from him. I'ma just have his ass chase me. He ain't gonna catch me. I'm Gingerbread Man. So everybody got different ways of avoiding having your freedom taken from you. Like there's different ways to fight a fight. You know what I mean? Some niggas got the hand skills. Some dudes will swipe you with the the Jamaicans got the good kick. You know? Some niggas is headbutting, and some people will pull out the mop and the stick and go and start shooting. Whatever you use to expose this beast for the de facto fake god that he is, and for the man behind the wizard curtain, because black people who have a slave mentality will always look at other black people only as slave, never as masters, and they'll always look at European Neanderthals from a master-slave relationship, like a host-parasite relationship, which is one of the oldest relationships on this planet, was between parasite and host. But black people who are indoctrinated are only looking at these crackers like they 100 feet tall. So any system that we have out here that's about pulling the curtain back and showing you that this motherfucker is a smurf working the boards, I'm all with it.
Right. Fact.
Whatever critiques I have for the Moors in these modern day times, I will reserve that for the grand gathering where different people come behind closed doors. When we come behind closed doors and sit down as, leaders and people who have honest critiques, not based in ego, not based in the fact that, somebody might be more popular than you, so by proxy you just hate them because you're just on some nigga shit and you can't help it because, you're not used to sharing stages or sharing the light or sharing any kind of accolades with your brothers. You was one of those disagreeable kings back in the days in the kingdom. You the nigga who sold the other kingdoms out because you wasn't comfortable with sharing the wealth. You wasn't comfortable with sharing the empire. You didn't feel comfortable walking into other kingdoms where you had to acquiesce to the motherfucking rules of that kingdom. That's these niggas reincarnate. These are roaches that we're talking about. These I can identify them now. So we at war, so I'm not about dividing nobody unless these niggas are proven to be traitors. Like I said, I'm not mad at groups of people who were shining their light wherever the fuck they went. Because as black people right now, you niggas put cocaine in your trunk, you get on I-95, you tear the highways up, and you spread your culture wherever the fuck you go. You know what I mean? There was god bodies who took crack out of town in the late 80s, but also brought the lessons with them. So they were creating zombies out of people and raising them up at the same damn time. So yeah, you have Moors who were gypsy-like. They traveled, they conquered, you know what I mean? They built, they traded, they were merchants. Wherever they went, they shined their light because that's just who they are, illuminated ones. They enlightened. Anywhere that you go, you're going to raise the frequency of knuckle draggers that surround you to a higher level. Anybody ever went to a corporate America job when you was awake? You changed the atmosphere. You ever got locked up and you were on a higher frequency? That savage shit doesn't take place around you if you can upgrade everybody that surrounds you to a higher level. So that's the same thing that happened to us in the Dark Ages. That's the same thing that happened to Henrietta Lacks when she didn't know what was going on. That's the same thing that happened with that sister Cookie in Hidden Figures. She worked as a human computer. She couldn't help it. She wanted to drink some fucking coffee with white people. They didn't want her to drink it with them. So she was just like, you know what? I'm going to just solve some problems and shit to get the day going by and whatnot. I'm going to help these crackers leave the fucking orbit of the planet. You know what I mean? Mad at her? You mad at all of the black women and the black men after integration took place and they went all in corporate America and helped all of the businesses boom, and then they helped all of these niggas with fatigues on going around fighting in the name of motherfucking Uncle Sam and Boy George and all of this stupid shit. You dig what I'm saying? The military prowess of our people going up in Vietnam, going up in Korea, going up in Iraq, going in Afghanistan, the shooter, the warriors, and the spirit that we have. yeah, they use that against us. They use that to accomplish their motherfucking deeds. So if you're gonna point fingers at Moors for whatever that you know what I mean? You niggas fail to mention what happened in Kemet. They ransacked fucking Kemet thousands of years before that and got the information and knowledge.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's what happened. And everywhere that they go, because we're so compassionate, because we're loving people, and amongst us, there's always a fucking Judas. So even if we like, nah, we ain't talking to them crackers, there's always a bedwench lurking somewhere, and there's always a weak nigga who want to suck a white dick, and he will sell you out in a minute and be like, nah, I'll tell you what you need to know. That's how niggas get down. It's always been like that. So, you know, like I said, whatever critiques I may have, well, I got critiques of a lot of different organizations, but until we sit down and delegate as real fucking people, you know what I mean, without ego and without malice, that's only when we get to the bottom of things. Because I got questions for different organizations, but only when I sit at the table with those organizations in a respectful way can I even anticipate a real answer. Because they'll spin you if you coming at them sideways. Niggas will spin you like they do in the streets, like they do anywhere else. You come with them with some fuck shit, they're gonna give you fuck shit. So you are what you eat. So I don't expect the Moors to be giving up all of the blueprints of what they do, all of the solutions of what they have in their motherfucking inside of their portfolio to people who come and disrespect them. The same way that I don't expect the Kemetic brothers to do it, the Hebrew Israelites, everybody else. You can't come up in no Palo house. You can't come up in no Santeria or Voodoo house, kicking the fucking door in, saying, yo, you niggas is gonna teach me some get rich fucking spells. They'll be like, oh, we're gonna teach you something. Yep. You sit down. You make yourself comfortable. Come and drink this tea. They're gonna get out. They're gonna like the bitch with the fucking teacup and get out. They're gonna start hitting you. You going into the sunken. That's what they can do to you niggas. We need to work. First of all, we need to get our ego out of our ass.
Woo!
All you niggas running around with no solutions, asking other people for solutions. You didn't have solutions and come to find out. You know what I mean? You didn't have the fucking answer, Sway. You know what I mean? Because if anybody had the answer in this community post-Trump, when shit went upside down, them niggas would have been having the answer. It's not about what you did 5 years ago. It ain't about what you did 10 years ago. Everything is about the now. None of that shit exists. You know what I mean? It's all of that shit is what you put in a fucking Netflix series. It doesn't matter. The only thing matters is right now. Our people need help right now. What you got, nigga? What the fuck do you have that works? Oh, I thought so. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of people who come faking. It's a lot of people. If a nigga could show me how to go into court when your life is on the line, and you could give me a 10-step motherfucking how to, because all I've been seeing from a lot of niggas of all different organizations, tax brackets, bloodlines, gang affiliations, motherfucking whatever you say, them niggas is looking at their sneakers and letting the Jew talk for them. When their life is on the line, when it really matters the most. All that other shit is window dressing. When it matters the most, when you behind those fucking wooden doors in court, when your life is on the line, if they take your freedom, you're a slave. All right, like the documentary 13 showed you. If you could show me a group who has a 5-step program on how to avoid that, I'll listen to them. I'll give it a listen, because we not sad at Gucci Man. We not upset at the Migos for sending niggas to jail when they listen to their doctrine or their program. But we like, damn, the Moors got people getting locked up. That's fucked up. The Moors is bad. Wait a minute. Them niggas they got remanded trying to fight for their freedom. Like that didn't put them in the courtroom.
Right.
They didn't put them in the courtroom. And if you're gonna chastise them, well, goddamn it, show me your way. Show me your way.
And you know what? To add on to that, you got to be able to submit yourself to the process of what it is. So if they say, you know, I definitely I identify with that with the brothers, because that's what I've always heard. Well, yo, there's a process you got to submit yourself to, and in our African traditions, that's the same thing. You know, I've seen brothers that, they're supposed to go to jail. You know, they've gotten caught up, and then they come and they get work done, and then they don't even go to court.
Yep.
Dealing with our African traditions. We have those ways, but you know what they have to do? They have to submit to the process. It's some things that go on in the process that they never may have seen themselves doing ever in their life.
Yeah.
And they say, damn, why do I have to do this? Do you want to take your ass to jail? No. Well, then you better do it. And they submit themselves to the process, and they look up and they're exonerated of some shit that they did do.
That they did do.
But they're exonerated.
And I'm here as a witness to say that when a certain ordeals went down many moons ago, and you know we had to do some work, we used everything that we could get our hands on.
Right.
So it wasn't no the paperwork was preceding some other shit, some sacrifices that had to be made in order for you to go in there with the paperwork and be bold enough to look this motherfucker in his face when you know what he's trying to do. And they all around you trying to swarm on you, and you standing on your square because you know the work that you put in is solid. So we at war. We could talk stratagem, but it won't be on live stream.
Right, definitely won't.
Real talk.
At the end of the day, whatever you use to work for you, my G, you know, salute to you. It might work for some people because that is their path. Remember, if you couldn't go mess up on your path, and you would have to go and negotiate with your spirit ancestors or spiritual systems or whatever higher power may govern you to help keep you on that path. You fucked up. You willing to clean that up and do some other things, then that's some of the things that happen in life. We're not perfect. Some people got it. Some people are supposed to go to jail.
Right.
That's
their path.
Niggas in jail that was waiting for them to wake them up. You know what I mean? That's their path. So some people, the shit didn't work for them because, God damn it, that's your path. Some people it works for because they studied, it's in their heart, they have that spirit, they're not scared. I mean, this is not a 1, 2, 3. Motherfuckers think that they could get, you know, no. When your ass got yourself into trouble, you spent millions of dollars to get your ass put under. Our black people spend thousands and millions of dollars to get put under a spell. You niggas buy the concert tickets, you buying the food masquerading as drugs, you buying the motherfucking Molly, you buying the pills, you buying the syrup. You niggas is buying the prostitutes with the graveyard yoni to put your ass in the grave. You know what I mean? You was running around having anal sex or fucking sheep. You know what I mean? Your phallus is about to fall off. So you spend all of this money to get your ass put in a jam, but you don't want to spend no money to get yourself put out of a jam. You don't want to spend no money to break a spell, but you spend mad money to get put under a spell. I can't work with niggas like that. That's fucking insanity. You understand?
Indeed. I like to add on to that. In our traditions, man, there's something that Red said that's so true. The divination may say you supposed to go to jail.
Facts.
No matter what. Okay, I've done this. Damn, man, they trying to railroad me. I'm innocent. You get the reading, and it says, Ochosi is dealing with you. Yeah, you're supposed to go to jail. How do you deal with that? It's in your path. Now, you might go to jail, and it works for you. You know, you got some of them people, you know, and it's sad. But see, this is where we're getting out of our European mind frame of good and bad, and we're getting into what's your path? What are you here in this incarnation to do? So you might find out that, you're supposed to go to jail. And then you find out you're great. You find your genius and greatness in there. You know, that might be for you. Or it might not be. And you might have the heart. It might be for you, but you've been doing everything you can to stay out of jail, and out here in the so-called in the streets, you're really in prison. You're going through all kind of shit. Homeless, you getting kicked every day in the head, going through some shit. Because your ass really supposed to be in jail.
Teach. All right,
but
real
that's,
quickly,
you know,
real quickly. I'm sorry I have to cut you right there.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's been a phenomenal show so far. You know, we've had a great night so far because we've had my brother Minister Enki on. We've got my brother Tahir RBG, Red Pill, Born Knowledge Allah on. You know what? On that note, I want to ask Red Pill: is Minister Enki on an upcoming remix?
He proposed. He made a proposition. You know, we got to see where we could fit our brother in, because to be honest with you, you know, I want to bring a lot of my brothers from the community into the art project that we have. I want to hear Pharaoh on the hook. You know what I mean? I want to hear Inky. KT we did a song with KT, All the Way Up remix that's coming out on a Ghetto Shaman. He has a project called the Super Hey Rules. And he murked it. He melted it, right? Right, ladies? He melted it. I got to take a seat, you know? So to be on tour with Tahir, Cyrock, all of my brothers, and we all on the stage exerting energy and rocking out in Zimbabwe or Botswana, some shit, you know what I mean? Like, that's one of the dreams that I'm aspiring to, because we have to continue to be dreamers. I somewhat reached some of my goals that I set many years ago already, so it's time for new goals, you feel me? But Inky got bars. Inky got bars. I'm not sleeping on Black Fat Pesos. That's his rap name. You know, he from the Bronx. He got that flow. He got the Riri flow.
All right. Listen, anyway, I'm not even gonna let something out of the bag right about now, but I'm gonna do that for another show. So this is what I'm gonna say, because I have to shut it down right now. It's you know, at 4 o'clock in the morning over here. I know we've got a lot of people tuned in. They most probably want to hear some more information, but I think we've got to leave that for another show. Because it's literally it's 4 a.m. over here, and I'm up in the next 3 hours. So I have to get to bed. I have to get to sleep. It's been a great show so far. And again, people, let me just share my screen, because I don't think you'll know. Let me just share my screen real quickly. Over here, again, we've got a show coming up on the 4th of March. Okay, Saturday, the 4th of March, 2017.
This Saturday,
6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we've got my brothers Tahir RBG, Born Knowledge Allah, Red Pill, and the Blue Pill as well, coming on to grace your screens via the live stream where you can purchase on www.rbgexplosion.com. And otherwise, you'll be able to actually see this live in Dallas, Texas. You'll be able to see this live in Dallas,
on the 4th.
Texas. I don't know if my brothers wanted to Houston on anything else extra on that.
Yeah, we having this RPG explosion. You know what I mean? So you see, y'all done heard how it works and what's happening. So we definitely want to have the family in the building, so we can definitely raise that spirit up and get true. It's time for unity. So we're moving in the space of principle unity and working with those willing among us to make that happen. We need every single weapon in our arsenal to be able to combat this whole entire situation. So, you know, we dealing with the African Center homeschool, we dealing with teaching our own, we dealing with growing our own food, we dealing in that space of sovereignty and putting all of these things together, a culmination. So a part of what I'm bringing is to identify the identity crisis that has been happening. So, you know, our identity has been co-opted. So we've been running around aimlessly, and we have to see how all of these things fit together. So my presentation is going to talk about how everything is applicable. Every single thing that we've done, there's nothing haphazard. Nothing that our ancestors gave us was for naught. So that's the culmination of everything. I'm going to be bringing it all home, all together. So if you walking away with a solution, I only give options. So you're gonna come up there, you're gonna have an option. If you think you ain't got no options, so by the time you leave, you're gonna leave with some options. So you can make a formed decision on where you stand. So we definitely inviting everybody out. We got the pillars in the building, we got Tahir RBG in the building, and we're gonna give you this explosion. You're gonna have an explosion based off an experience that's protocol and principle. So we definitely thank you, Kalam, and salute to Talk with the Titans TV for allowing us to come on in the spirit of harmony and love. So salute to you, salute to your listening audience and everybody that will view this viewing.
Yo, Kalam, if I could say one thing for all of those listening that want to get involved or begin to get involved, with African tradition, and in particular with your ancestors, and get into this empowerment, to get to the back part of that and empowerment, you can email me at Tahir RBG, TAHIR RBG at gmail.com. And I'll be happy to we can kick it about it, but I'll definitely, that's what I do. And I can give you the basics about it, and then we can take it further. And if you want to check my music out, and just go to my site, TahirRBG.com, and we got some things. But yeah, I definitely want to link in like that, because I got applications, I got apps behind the raps. And I know my brother Red has them, and my brother Knowledge Born got them, my brother Blue got them. That's why we rocking together, because it's application. You did? So just want to put that out there.
Jeez. All right. So I'm gonna sign out. I don't know, Red, if you had anything last to say.
Yeah, I want to leave y'all with a video. How about that?
Nice.
Let's catch it.
Yeah, we got the Prince video. I want to just leave the family with that, keep them in high spirits and whatnot. I believe we'll be performing this weekend, either in Dallas or Houston. We got to get that. We got to set it off somewhere. We got some love real quick. Come on, ladies. We want to give some love to across the pond to the Tate family. All right.
Right.
This
Black
is the
Power.
family. Me, Jamaica. Right. Yeah, big up yourself, UK massive. You don't know.
Salute.
So I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen. This is Prince, red and blue. All right, purple like Prince. All right, family. And y'all could check that out at Twin Pillars, thetwinpillarscamp.com. Let's go. All right. Shout out to Knowledge. Shout out to Tahir. Shout out to Khalil. You know what I mean? We look forward to doing more things with the fam. Shout out to all of the love and light. Peace.
Black Power.
Masters, I can do business with you, right? Masters talking to a master, that master talking to a slave. It's over. I'm gonna license you, my materials. You don't own my materials anymore. Chunk over here to the homie. That's why I have no issue with people calling him a master mason. You damn right, he's the master of his catalog. He's the master of his words. He's the master of his archive. You feel me? He's the master of the ceremony. Right? Very few artists have been able to achieve this, but the ones that have, we've seen his demise. I'm a 100%. 100. Red and blue, purple like Prince. Red and blue, purple the Benz. Change up the circle of friends. The netherable circle, the twins. 75 ever since. 70 wives in the Benz. Red and blue, purple like Prince. 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 We feeling the urge, killing the purge. Buzzers electric, we feeling the surge. Feeling the words, killing the verse with immunity. Pillars of unity. This is the form of the Voltron. This is the age of the Ultron. This is the same stage as the Pope bomb. This is the stage you can smoke on.
What I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna put it on my screen and play it because the connection isn't as strong on Red's one. So I'm gonna pause and mute Red's mic, and I'm gonna play it from my one right now.
This is the crystals be talking the cloak. copper crown. 21 guns, salute, check the sound. My power pieces, the crystals be talking, the cloth that be talking. King County clothing, yeah, king of New York, and I'm Christopher walking, the missiles and walking. Missiles be talking, 21 hammers with country, the grammar, the broken, the English. I'm on 100%. 100. Red and blue, purple like Prince. Red and blue, purple, the Benz. Change up the circle of friends. The nether will circle the twins. 75 ever since. 70 wives in the fence. Red and blue, purple like Prince. 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 Charges is federal, orders incredible, markers indelible, sparkers immeasurable, sparking the medical, carcass on pedestal, sharks for that revenue, hawks for what's edible. Heart full of vegetables, hard at the festivals, heart no cholesterol, sharp on those episodes. I'm on 100%. I like when summer begins. I need my hundreds and tens. I need 100%. Go independent like Prince. I'm on 100%. I like when summer begins. I need my hundreds and tens. I need 100%. I like when summer begins.
Let me just pull that one.
Master's talking to a master, not a master talking to a slave, a solver. I'ma license you, my materials. You don't own my materials anymore. But I'm gonna take the big chunk over here to the homie. That's why I have no issue with people calling him a master mason. You damn right, he's the master of his catalog. He's the master of his words. He's the master of his archive. You feel me? He's the master of the ceremony. Very few artists have been able to achieve this. But the ones that have, we've seen a demise. I'm on 100%. Red and blue, purple like Prince. Red and blue, purple, the Benz. Change up the circle of friends. The nether will circle the twins. 75 ever since. 70 wives in the fence. Red and blue, purple like Prince. 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 We feeling the urge, killing the purge. Brothers electric, we feeling the surge. Feeling the words, killing the birds with immunity, feelings of unity. This is the form of Voltron. This is the age of the Ultron. This is the same stage as the Pope bomb. This is the stage you can smoke on. Copper pound, came under scene that was copper down. All I was missing was copper crown. Summer 16, I turned copper brown. Look for revenge in the copper town. Copper New Jersey and copper crown. 21 guns, salute, check the sound. My power pieces, the crystals be talking, the cloth that be talking. King County clothing, yeah, king of New York, and I'm Christopher walking, the missiles and walking. Missiles be talking, 21 hammers with country, the grammar, the broken, the English. I'm on 100%. Red and blue, purple like Prince. Red and blue, purple, the Benz. Change up the circle of friends. The nether will circle the twins. 75 ever since. 70 wives in the fence. Red and blue, purple like Prince. 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 Charges is federal, orders incredible, markers indelible, sparkers immeasurable, sparking the medical, carcass on pedestal, sharks for that revenue, hawks for what's edible. Heart full of vegetables, hard at the festivals, heart no cholesterol, sharp on those episodes. I'm on 100%. I like when summer begins. I need my hundreds and tens. I need 100%. Go independent like Prince. I'm on 100%. I like when summer begins. I need my hundreds and tens. I need 100%. I like when summer begins.
Wait. Oh man. Okay. Let me just stop that. Oh man. All right. Let me close out. I was getting hyped off this. I was getting too hyped. Let me see what everybody else is saying. Was everybody getting hyped like me, or is it just me? Is it just me, or was everybody else getting hyped as well? All right. Anyway, signing off. Thanks for tuning in. Please hit the share button, hit the like button. Let us know that you're loving the information. We had Red Pill, we had Born Knowledge a lot, and we also had my brother Tahir RBG on as well.
Oh man. Boom.